Quack, quack, quack.
Quack.
Quack, 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 quack.
Colvin, oh,
Yeah.
I'm your host, Adam Chimano.
And I'm Aaron Schroeder, but of course.
That's right. This is the Quack 12 podcast, the most official, unofficial Oregon Ducks podcast on the web footosphere. And Aaron, I've been watching so much goddamn Duck sports that it's breaking my heart.
Wow.
How
Adam,
about you? What's that? What's up?
I set out to watch
Hmm?
4 games,
4?
but I only got 3.
Oh, wow. Look at you.
Were
That's
there 4
amazing.
games?
Hell yeah. Yeah, 4 games, 4 Duck games.
Okay.
4 basketball
only got
games,
3.
unfortunately. Only 4.
I guess one of them must have switched channels. Oh, of course. The one that I missed is when we played the fucking Huskies. Didn't go to the game. Didn't record the game for whatever reason. Ended up recording the Utah, whoever they played before us, Pac-12 women's game.
Is this the part of the pod where you'd like to apologize to our listeners because you said that potentially you would go to this game? If you would, then the floor is yours right now. Would you like to apologize to them? Think it over, Aaron.
Nope.
Oh, the bad boy of the Quack 12. He always has been. No, it's all right. It's all right. My man, you chose a great game to not go to in that UW Oregon game. It turns out we can get into it in a little bit
because I did also
yeah.
I will quickly also say I did watch the other men's game and woo,
that was bad too. That was bad too in a different way. It was all bad. Women's side a little different, but still kind of disheartening. What can I say? Tough week in Duck sports. But
look,
what?
I think we all knew where the men were at. So
Yeah.
Can't be too butthurt on that one.
Women
won a game, moved forward, played a game where they fell behind, but then rallied back. But then
you know what? Let's get into it.
Let's
There's
get into it, baby.
Too much basketball
What's all
to dilly-dally. Let's get into the fan favorite segment here.
Quacksball. Quacksball. Quacksball.
Oh. So that's right. You watch both these games because we are an unofficial Oregon Ducks podcast, and we do our homework like good little duckies.
Right.
Now, it started off. Now, we were talking the Pac-12 tournament. Now, we needed to make. I don't know if we needed to win the title game against Stanford, but I think we needed to make the title game against whoever in order to get a top like 4 or 5 seed. In that case, we would have stayed in Eugene for the first 2 games, I do believe, in the tournament. But unfortunately, we didn't. So we probably won't. Probably will have to travel, which is a bummer for me personally.
Wondering.
Yeah, I wanted to see it here, so that would have been a nice. But no, the Ducks. Yeah, Ducks enter the big dance 20-11, 11-6 overall conference record. And they started off the Pac-12 tournament against UCLA. Now, UCLA was coming off of a win, a big-time win, and then they were going against us, and it was a back-and-forth affair. It actually was a pretty good game, like you were saying. Bruins led 53-50, entering the final frame. Luckily, Thomas, Prince, Sabali, they really responded. Actually, Thomas from UCLA hit a 3-pointer, and they took a 60-59 lead.
Right.
That looked pretty sketchy, a little scary there. Fortunately, we clamped down on defense. We didn't let them score for the rest of the game, and Rogers got a bucket. Sabali hit 2 clutch free throws, and we were able to get out of there.
Clutch.
The clutchest of clutch. I mean, Sabali's playing out of her mind, clearly.
She really was, right?
Getting mugged. Oh, yeah, she's been doing absolutely fantastic. Against UCLA, I believe, well, her and Prince really, I mean, and this is kind of what I've been wanting to see for a long time. Unfortunately, it was because Maddie Shear was really limited due to an injury.
Yeah.
But I've been wanting to see Sabali and Prince on the floor basically all the time because they're our two best players. And I don't know. I just like playing that kind of like big kind of basketball. Now, Prince finished 5 of 11 with 12 points. Niara Sabali finished 6 of 9 from the floor for 15 points. Sabali got 15 rebounds. Prince got 12 rebounds, so they both got double doubles. And then, India Rogers got 16 points, 6 assists. That being said, Pow Pow and Rogers both went 4 of 13 from the floor. And that really is kind of where we've been weakest. That and obviously our 3-point shooting. We went 6 of 17, which is 35%, which for this squad is actually not that bad, but you want it to be better for what the Ducks can be, you know. But UCLA, they really out rebounded us early on. They were just winning the boards, which is not really something that should be happening when you've got talented bigs like this. But yeah, we overcame it. It was nice.
Yeah.
At the very
now
end.
I have to ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
What is the deal?
What is the deal with the UCLA coach? What do you mean?
Well, let me just show you, Adam.
Okay.
Now, as you can see here, she's screaming right at our player. Look at this intimidation on our player. And then look, okay, so then she goes, but here she comes. She's going to start screaming again, screaming at our player, screaming. Adam,
What?
I have to tell you, I am not stoked. I think we have a Karen on our hands.
Oh my gosh. You can't just call every middle-aged white lady that screams at any point a Karen. You're being Karenist.
Is it legal to scream at the other team's players 3 feet away from them?
Yeah, totally. We don't know that
as a coach.
We don't know that she was screaming at our players. She could have been screaming at her own players, and that is fine.
Let's look again. Now, as you can
we're not allowed to show this. We're not
Adam,
allowed to show this. Yeah.
I do believe we have ourselves a conspiracy, my dear man.
Ooh, boy. Okay, see, this would be the time where I play the conspiracy corner music had I made that for this week's episode, but I didn't. So another lesson to me. I'll do that one day. I made this.
Quaxball.
I made that. So
totally.
Well, thanks for bringing that to our attention, though. I do appreciate that. Good job. Okay, well, come on. We don't want to get sued by Geico.
Screaming right at her. It's crazy.
Okay, now we've got against Utah. Aaron, I'm going to need you to mark this time because I'm about to cough.
Yep.
Boy, I'm going to drink water. Yeah, let's get our coughs out.
Now, Adam, how did you feel about this game? Because I have to tell you, I was absolutely conflicted.
For this game, I mean, I actually couldn't watch it live. I was at my mysterious day job. But I did watch it both, like I recorded the live one and then I watched like a recapped one afterwards.
Sure.
And I mean, yeah, I was pissed at the refs. Kelly Graves I should say this. I forgot to say this. Did you see in the UCLA game? I believe they interviewed him. And he's all like, yeah, everybody always says like that why am I so calm on the sideline?
Right.
He's all like, but if you knew like me, it's like I'm glad it looks that way, but I'm not calm at all. Like I'm kind of freaking out. In this
Adam,
one, he got called up for a tee, and it was a pretty costly tee.
Adam, I'm glad you brought it up because I'd like to show you something.
Oh my God. Okay, well.
Look at our boy dance. Look at him dance, baby. Oh,
yeah.
He's right there with him the whole beautiful way. Now, wait, because he's about to get some really great pantomime defense moves going.
Yeah.
It's a true workout. I think I'm going to add it to my regime.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think he's this excited because of where they're at and he needs to make sure his team is also... Oh, here we go. Big hands. Big hands.
Yeah, he's showing you need to get your hands up in the air.
Oh,
That
yeah.
makes
Oh,
sense.
yeah. Oh, we're running. I've never seen him move so much.
Yeah, no, he was animated. I mean, obviously he was animated. He got called for a technical.
And this is why I'm conflicted. Because
yeah.
I'm proud of our boy. I'm proud of him. I take back every bad word I've ever said. He's the greatest coach of all time.
You just needed him to stand up and kind of show some...
You know, what you need
heart.
is a guy that'll just start throwing his hands. I mean, that look right there. Come on.
I'll tell you this, everybody. If you would like to see these wonderfully curated videos from not only our sound engineer Aaron here, but our VJ Aaron Schroeder, AC VJ Schroeder, then you will want to go to the Quack 12 Patreon, which we'll get into that. I believe they're our sponsor, actually, so we'll get into that a little later. But
it is most definitely going to become a feature because having a terrible time focusing on the game, my eyes always see everything else going on. So it's going to be beautiful perspectives.
It's nice. Let's hope YouTube doesn't catch on to this, but no, I think we'll be good.
This is a review.
Yeah, I mean, hey, this is we're reviewing it.
Commentary.
It's fine.
This is
Come
absolute
on.
leagues.
This is commentary. Don't sue us, baby. But anyway, so he was animated in this one, and like we said, there was that costly technical. But I mean, there was a lot they could have done. If they didn't want to lose this game, they couldn't have. They could have scored more than 8 points in the third quarter, and they could have limited them in the second half instead of allowing them 48 points in the second half. Pretty brutal. Utah snapped a 13-game losing streak against Oregon. This really kind of reminded me the football season.
I was about to say, didn't somebody else just break their streak against us?
Yeah, everybody.
Right,
we'll
everybody. That's right. Oh, I forgot. It was everybody.
Everybody. Fucking pulling up W's.
Are we still in conspiracy quarter? Because it being everybody seems suspicious.
Okay, I'm making that segment. Don't worry, I'm making that little bumper next week.
Need it.
So the Ducks ended the first half. This is good on a 23-7 run.
Right.
And actually that first half was all us. It was looking pretty good. And it was like, yeah, this is the team I like to see, baby.
Yep.
Actually this in second quarter field goal, percentages were pretty off for both teams. The second quarter definitely wasn't as hot as the first because like Utah was 6 of 16, Oregon was 6 of 17. Neither of us are doing very well, or I should say both of us were doing very, very well on defense. Oregon, on the other hand, though, was just missing a lot of shots that they should have made, especially surprise face 3-pointers. Who would have thought that? Us missing 3-pointers. Oh crap. No. Yeah. So and it ended the last 8 minutes of the third quarter, 8+ minutes in the third quarter.
Don't even want to talk about this
without
part of the game.
A field goal. We did not score a field goal in the last 8 minutes of the third quarter. That's really where we lost the game.
Atrocious.
Oregon was down 10 entering the final frame. We actually reclaimed the lead on a bucket from Sabley at the 3:56 mark. However, on the other end, she was called for a foul, her fifth, and she was out of the game. That's where Graves was pissed. He gets called for the technical. That ends up being like a 4, because they get like, because she was called for defending a 3 even. So it was just a big time swing late in the game. Also, some of these fouls that were calling on Sabley were just bullshit. I really thought they were.
Well, it was the tic-tac fouls. And honestly, if you want to go back, it was the same ref from the other game. And if you look here, he's doing absolutely nothing to calm down the situation.
So you just got these 2 clips, it looks like.
Here's what I believe. I think collegiate sports hired this man from the WWE. He has no idea how to ref a
Mm-mm.
basketball game. He was just there because he got paid.
I get you. But well, sure, I'm down with it. Any ref that
Just a thought, a theory.
any conspiracy that discredits a ref, I'm down with it.
It
So we
doesn't
lost
become
that.
conspiracy heavy.
We lost that one. That was a brutal one to lose.
Yeah.
As far as let's see, the actual scorers in this game. I mean, the same culprits. We got 12 points from Prince, 12 points from Sabali, 12 rebounds from Sabali, too. Like a really great game, honestly. In only 17 minutes of play, she got 12 points and 12 rebounds. Only 17 minutes. Prince got 12 points. Rogers got 15 points. However, she was 5 of 16 from the floor, 2 of 5 from 3. Tahina Pau was 7 of 18 from the floor. She finished with 17 points, however. And as a team, we were only 35% from 3-point range. Not terrible, honestly. 11 of 16 free throws, 39% from the floor. Tough game. Utah is a good team. You do got to give them credit.
That was my question. And has the Pac-12 champion been determined already?
Oh, yeah. Stanford.
And it
big
is?
time. Stanford whomped them. They would have whomped us too. But it would have been nice to get to that privilege.
Yeah.
Instead, we're just hoping we get shown some mercy by the committee.
And so what does that mean for the rest of the season?
Well, we got the tournament, right? It's coming up. There's some predictions. The latest we won't get official predictions, I believe, until Sunday, but some have predicted. Like I'm on the NCAA.com. Women's
we
basketball.
have not officially released a bracket yet. Is that what you're about to
Not
tell me?
yet. Not yet. But South Carolina. So we're probably going to Greensboro, North Carolina, I believe. I don't know. My geography's terrible. Yeah. So we don't get to play in Eugene. That's a bummer. We will. So we could play Boston College or Northwestern, whoever is the 11 seed, because we will likely be a 6 seed, but who knows? Who knows? This prediction has us in the same bracket or like a section as like Indiana, UNLV, Ole Miss, Gonzaga, Texas, and Fairfield. Who knows? Who knows?
The Zags are probably going to go super far.
Possibly. I mean, they're better at men's basketball than women's basketball. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, it's not like a school that just rules at basketball. I kind of thought they were just a basketball.
They're good. They're just not as good as the men, as dominant as the men's team is in the world of college basketball. So that's that. I don't know. I hope we win. That's all I got to say.
So
we'll find out.
In 1 week, we're officially mad as hell. March mad as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm excited for it.
I'm glad you're excited. We should hop over to the men's basketball season, which will, I don't know, maybe throw some cold water on you a bit, unfortunately. However,
right.
First, I do believe we have a sponsor.
We do. Pretty
All
tough
right.
one. Real brutal type of guests.
Okay.
I
call them guests. I call them advertisers, but
I have they sent it in on a 1/4-inch reel-to-reel because they said it sounded better, which I was like, what kind of assholes are these? But anyway, let me see if I can't. All right.
Hey, an advertiser's an advertiser.
Oh, yeah! It's the Quack 12 podcast. Brought to you by the Quack 12 podcast. Oh, yeah! You can get all your quack attack needs over at quack12podcast.com. Oh, yeah! And when you're there, make sure to follow the links to their Patreon, man. Oh, yeah! And then don't forget, head over to iTunes, give these fools 5 stars, review, tell them how much you love them. Oh, yeah! It's the Quack 12 Podcast, the greatest podcast of all time!
Whoa, I think the Quack 12 got me high.
All right, that was a weird
All right.
one. I
Yeah.
couldn't really understand what the
Cool,
guy
though.
was.
Seemed
Couldn't
like
really
a chill
understand what the
fella.
guy was saying.
Huh?
I couldn't really understand what the guy was saying. So kind of a bad advertisement in my hand. But I mean, hey, if they pay,
Did you
that's
did you
all I
think
care about.
the volume of the vocals to the music was
Oh, it was good. I could hear him. I just couldn't really understand the words coming out of his mouth. And another thing is, it kind of felt like the energy started out real strong and then got a little weaker, maybe as like the voice that the guy was doing the advertising was kind of straining on his vocals.
Oh,
And he
maybe.
kind
I
of,
don't know. I mean, they're Danish. Who knows what they do
who
over
knows? But sure, yeah, follow the Quack 12 podcast or whatever it is. Sounds good. Let's get into men's basketball, shall we?
there. Yeah, let's do it, baby.
Yeah. Okay, so
That breaker. I want to see it again. We're still talking basketball.
oh yeah. Sure, why not? I mean, I made it.
Quaxball. 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 Uh-oh.
Long story short, we suck. Quite
Dude,
frankly,
for
damn.
real.
We like got our fucking asses kicked. Pardon my French, but it must
Yeah.
be said.
Let's spend as much time on this as we did on that friggin' Splice video thing.
Yeah, well, let me tell you this.
Hit me, daddy.
This is nuts. Just remember, these are the 3 games coming into this last week that the Ducks had.
Right.
We went to the McHale Center in Tucson against number 3 Arizona, and we lost in a spirited contest 81-84. Nearly had them, but we lost. Then we played against number 12 UCLA in Eugene, and we beat them 68-63,
Right.
completing a sweep against UCLA. Then against USC, we lose 69-70. Heartbreaking
Right.
fashion against number 16 USC.
Even though we got to 69 first.
Even though we got to 69 first. Now, so I mean, that's an
rules
impressive
clearly
run.
state whoever gets to 69 first is clearly the winner.
It should actually be that. I mean, that would be pretty cool. I would love that.
Oh God, that's the best tidbit of fun factualness that I love. I love it so much.
It's kind of the only thing you've ever retained about basketball.
That's it, baby. That's all you need to know about basketball.
First 69 wins. So what I'm saying is, I mean, that was 3 top 25 teams, the 3 best teams in the Pac-12, 2 super close battles, 1 on the road, and 1 win. And then we get into this. We go to Seattle, Washington, and we lose 67-78. And then we go to Pullman, Washington, and we lose 74-94 in somewhat of a crucial contest, because against Washington State, I mean, our conference record was, well, okay, so we finished 11-9 in conference play, tied with Washington State and Washington, though I believe we have the tiebreaker. I think we're ahead of them, but still tied with them, and 1 behind Colorado, which was 12-8. So we needed to win these games.
Big
would have
time.
helped us get that bye in the tournament. We did not, though. And I mean, these were ass kickings, especially the game against Washington. That wasn't even as close as the 67-78 score would have you believe. It was just a freaking thrashing. That being said, we should say this. I think this is important.
I mean, Washington State put up NBA numbers too.
I mean, yeah, Washington State was just draining the 3. They were killing us. And it was like, it's so tough too, because when you're not hitting the 3 and another team is just like unleashing it on that, it just must be so demoralizing.
Yeah.
Like the Cougs hit 9 threes in the first half, and it just felt like, okay, good night, bye. Yeah, and overall, I mean, well, okay, just to jump forward to the Cougs, that was a season high 94 points allowed, because we allowed 14 threes by the Cougs.
Wow.
Yeah, 94 freaking points. And Washington State is a good team. I really do think so, but yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, because I got to
Mhm.
see that game
Yes.
and I have opinions. I'd like
Yes.
to ask, what did the overall spirit and or morale of the team feel like against the Huskies?
Well, against the Huskies, I mean, it was just the Huskies just had completely were just feeding on the energy at a certain point. Well, the Ducks did have a 15-10 lead with like 11 minutes remaining. So I will say people showed up. The Husky fans did show up, probably because they knew, like, hey, the Ducks are weak this year. This could finally be a win.
Right.
And so it was a competitive game, but then they closed that first half. The Huskies do out with a 13-3 run to go into the half, up 33-23. The Ducks just looked terrible offensively. They shot 27% in the first half. And then going into the second half, UW started on a 13-2 run. And basically with that huge lead that they had, the Ducks just did everything to even get within like 11 points. And they were just like having to score every time, like
Right.
trying to play perfectly, but UW was answering enough that I mean it was kind of funny that, like, I bet you there were some UW fans there that actually were nervous, which is kind of ridiculous because they did have a big lead. But, like, I don't know. Yeah, that being said, it was a bummer game. I'm glad you didn't actually go to it, even though it would have been funny for you to go to just a blowout.
Yeah, I mean, I would have probably put all of my anger on you for convincing me to have gone. I'm like, that motherfucker got me out to this goddamn game and the fuckers lose.
Yeah. I
No, I
figured you would
wouldn't.
just join the UW fans and just like, yay, Huskies.
I mean, honestly, I would probably be so content with whatever concessions I fucking piled on top that I'd be
Yeah,
stoked,
exactly.
or the pickles I snuck in.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. I know a really smart place to hide a pickle, actually. But I don't need to bring that up on air. So here's a big reason. Here's a big reason why I think the Ducks did poorly. And I think it's pretty obvious.
Sure.
Breaking news we had here, because it has been announced just before we recorded this podcast that Will Richardson, our star point guard, like supposedly the leader of this team, will miss the Pac-12 men's basketball tournament
Good night.
with quote unquote illness. Now it says Oregon will be without guard Will Richardson for the upcoming tournament. I believe they just said, I believe I've read a non-COVID related illness. And I believe Dana Altman said that this has been affecting him since like the US. I think he got injured a bit in the USC game, but also I guess there's some kind of illness now too. I assume when they say illness that they don't mean injury.
Sure.
It's more of a sickness, right?
Well,
You
let
gotta
me ask
assume
you
that.
this then.
What's that?
Would a hernia be an illness or an injury?
I would have. Maybe that's an injury. I mean, maybe that's a illness. I would assume it's
kinda
an
feel like it
injury.
might be an illness, and if he got hurt
probably an
up,
injury.
maybe something popped in the weird spot and
Who knows?
something came through the muscles or something.
Now, it's really bad sports journalism to just speculate an injury, but on the Quack Show podcast, that's what we do, baby. So it could be anything. Let's just shoot.
Illness. He could have
leprosy.
smallpox. He could have polio. The list is endless. And that's boring. So we'll just sum it up. Probably has a herniated disc or something.
Diarrhea.
That's an injury, though. Shit.
Yeah, come on. Is diarrhea an injury or an illness? Okay, we don't need to go there. So he's
you
out.
Asked the question.
He was averaging 14.1 points, 3.7 rebounds, and 3.6 assists. So pretty freaking crucial for a team that has huge stretches of just like cold streaks, Yeah. So this is going to be rough. I know he was replaced against Washington State with Frank Kepnong, obviously, so just going big there.
Sure.
It didn't work. That didn't work out. I know that much. So that's a bit scary. I'll tell you this, Aaron. I think this is pretty interesting here. Now, so the Pac-12 tournament bracket is already out, and actually the game will be tomorrow as of this recording. So for you listeners,
Yesterday.
tomorrow would, of course, Wednesday. It's the day this podcast comes out.
Oh, great.
So on the 9th, I should say, March 9th, we will be playing against 12 seed Oregon State in the first round here. If we were to win that, we would go against number 4 Colorado, and then it could be Arizona State, or Stanford. Arizona got the 1 seed, UCLA 2, USC 3. So we'll see what happens there. I'll tell you this, Aaron.
Yeah.
If we do not straight up win the Pac-12 tournament, then the men's team have missed the big dance, and that freaking blows. I really do not
especially
like
for
that.
a school that is basically Nike.
Yeah, we should be better.
Now, here's a question,
stinks.
because that is the only thing I thought of. With all miracles of miracles, we actually win the damn thing. Will comes back. Where do you say, how deep do you actually think this team could even go after the first round?
Well, if we got in, we'd be a low seed. I think it is possible that we could compete against. I mean, we have gone on the road, competed against really good teams. We've even won, this season. I don't know how bad Will Richardson's injury, or whatever it is.
Illness, not an injury.
Illness, sorry. I don't know how bad his illness is. But shit, man. If I don't think he's gonna come back. If he's missing the Pac-12 tournament, it must be so serious. If he did come back, I'd say maybe we win that first game, that'd be a huge win for us, because we'd be underdogs.
I mean, basically, though, every illness causes like fatigue and coughing. So it's, even if he were to try and play through illness, he would be like a 10%, player.
Hey, who knows, man? You're the doctor, not
Interesting
me.
stuff. I happen to have a doctorate,
Yeah, right here. Non-COVID-19 related illness. Wow. Aaron,
a tip for you, baby.
It's looking pretty grim. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But hey, we got a tournament. Let's see what the fuck happened. What if we won this damn thing?
Does that, because we're such underdogs, does that mean we're good guys? Or is it because we're bad guys, we finally looked like we were finally, Superman plunging doomsday halfway through the earth? Pretty sure we killed the bad guy.
Well,
but didn't we win it all? I think maybe it makes us a bigger bad guy.
Well, here's the thing. We could still be, quote unquote, the bad guy, as you always say, as is your narrative for the Oregon Ducks, because we're going against Oregon State. Oregon State is absolutely the worst team in the Pac-12 by far. Ask me what their record is, Aaron.
Adam.
Yes?
What is Oregon State's record?
Glad you asked. The men's basketball team record is overall 3-27, and in Pac-12 play, they are 1-19.
And who did they beat?
Aaron, I want to say that is an excellent question, and I want to thank you for your thought-provoking question, and also just commend you on being a wonderful podcast co-host. There's too many times that I take you for granted, because so often in a podcasting duo, they beat Utah. Utah is the second worst team in the Pac-12.
Are you sure it's not us?
No, we actually did beat them.
Okay.
They beat the women's team, but somehow the
Thank
Ducks
you.
managed to beat them twice. Yeah. So I
Well,
don't know, man.
okay,
What I'm
then-
saying is that's the narrative where we're the bad guy. Is because Oregon State is so bad that if they beat us, they would be like, "Yay, we were the underdogs and we won."
Right.
It's still there.
Okay. Right. Perfect. Now then, which I'd like to hopefully maybe I could wrap this up super simply with men's basketball by asking you one perfectly placed question.
I love a perfectly placed question. Let's hear it.
Was it an issue this season? Officially now, I think we can start making official decisions. Was it the team doesn't get the concept of the play style, or was it the coaching staff wasn't getting it across to the team?
For the men's team, let's do both.
Yes.
Let's do both, actually.
Oh, let's do both.
For the men's team, I think those young men just were not able to fully grab the concept and focus. Usually, by the end, I do think there was, I don't know, some adherence to what Dana Altman was trying to install on defense, but I think there would just be big like lapses in focus, especially late. Especially it seems like when Will Richardson is not 100%, and they just didn't find that late season like fire that the Altman teams usually do, which is unfortunate. Just going to lead them to NIT, which is going to be super boring to cover.
So
But
you have full faith in the Altman experience. You believe that what his game plan is a good one.
Especially because the fact that he's doing it with a whole lot of new people, usually year after year, and you've seen it work way more often than it hasn't worked just the one season. Then yeah, you're just like, well, next season let's see what happens. Let's see who stays and let's see what happens. That being said, so the women's basketball team, on the other hand, this is my main thing: is I am really gonna judge Graves harshly on how many of these players he gets to stay. Now I know some are gone, like I believe Sably is out of time, I know Prince is coming back, and there's a few others, but like everyone who can stay, I would really like, especially the highly talented ones, the ones who are earning minutes right now. I want them to stay and build some continuity. I think it'd be a huge loss if, for example, like Power to transfer. I think that would be even though she's having a tough time right now. I think that would just anything like that would just be a huge loss. Or even with the bigs, like I really like Watson, I really like Che. If one of them were to go, that'd be rough.
You can't judge the coach on the player being unsatisfied with what the coach was able to deliver and therefore deciding to leave.
Well, I'll tell you this, like,
oh wait, yes, you can, right? Because the coach failed them, so they left.
Well, some are to be expected. Like some are healthy, especially when you're bringing in good talent like Graves is. But I just it's like I would like to see the continuity, and I don't know. That's just kind of how I'm feeling. I don't think he has Altman's ability to just grab a bunch of people and just like, boom, here's an amazing team with like talented players. They figure it out.
Okay,
and boom. I don't think he does that. I think he needs to build it.
Is we like him, but he has to be able to keep the same players for a full run to make it make sense in year 3.
I would really like
if he's not able to keep players to run his program, then maybe it's time we try a different program.
Also, I would say I would really, really like for him to bring a solid guard into the mix. A new young solid guard, some new talent. Just because that's what he's kind of hoping for, is that one day he like gets a Ionescu in the mix again, even though that's a 1 in a billion shot. But like even like 3/4 Ionescu would be just truly amazing for the team. And Pow has that ability. Pow has that ability.
It's just a matter of time, in 5 years, there will probably be like 200 Ionescus because there will
How
be 1,000
fucking
kids who watched her.
how fucking dare you? That's all I gotta say. Um,
I'm just saying, sports have a tendency to have the bar continuously raised as far as what is considered being good at it.
you're right, because there's a million Wilt Chamberlain scoring 100 points per game nowadays.
Bro.
Is that what you're saying?
I mean, the mere fact that you
brother?
could now potentially start ranking players higher than Michael Jordan is like
Yeah, but like one
matter of
player.
time. It's just a matter of time.
All right. Time and
I hope
space.
Kelly Graves is with us until he is in the graves, because in those final years,
Hey,
when
yo.
he is 138 years old, he will have the toppest tier players you've ever seen, Adam. I swear to you.
Ionescu the 7th, probably.
Yeah, totally.
All right, my friend. And now, I'm actually very excited about our
Me too.
final segment
I've
of
been
the
waiting
show.
for it.
That is right. A segment that is close, near, and dear to our hearts and to the homeland. It is, in fact,
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd.
Buy me some peanuts and cracker jack.
that is right.
I love it. I love
Peanuts
it.
and Quacker Jacks, talking about the Duck Diamond Sports. Quack quack. And listeners, last week I had a tear-filled I guess apology to each and every one of you, because I lied to you and said I was going to go out to a Duck baseball game, and in fact I did not. Listeners, you may be expecting for me to have my hat in my hands. However, it is sitting squarely on top of my head, because if you look over at our Twitter account at Quack12 Podcast, you will see a picture of a hot dog and a pretzel at a baseball game, because I saw Duck baseball in the flesh, my man.
Yo, for real?
Mm-hmm.
That was one mean looking ballpark dog. That thing was huge.
It was yeah. Okay. Shall we get into the food first, or do you want to get into the little bit of game
Food
that I
first,
actually watched?
sports secondary, because I need to have what you're eating in my mind as you're telling me what you were watching. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, okay. So while I got there, now I had seen like playoff baseball there last, baseball season, tail end of it. And they were, because of COVID, they were crazy limited on the concessions, and they basically didn't have anything. It was pretty gross.
Of course.
But now they had
I
the
respect that
full,
decision.
yeah, but they had the full PK Park experience now, what they have to offer. Now, there was some good stuff here. It didn't exceed like your classic, kind of ballpark snacks.
Well, it's not MLB status, of course.
Or it's not like Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Like I hear that they have great like local food that's actually reasonably priced, and they're trying to make that a real thing, where they're not just screwing you over on these concession stands and their crap, It's not
Where's
quite
Mercedes-Benz Arena?
Atlanta.
Oh.
Yeah. But that being said, yeah, I thought they were pretty
This dog,
good.
baby, it was fat and juicy.
Reasonably priced. So this was like, I think it was called the premium dog, and it was more like a sausage. It's kind of like a cheap sausage almost. And I loaded that up with, they had just standard generic little ketchup packets. So I put one ketchup.
They're not doing the big like.
No, I wish they were doing the.
I mean, germs, contamination. It's give them packets.
Yeah, so I did ketchup, I did mustard, and I did that crappy little gross relish, even though really only just kind of the nasty, like none of the pickle came out, just kind of the juice came out. So it's kind of gross.
And the one red flake.
Yeah. So that was all there. And then I got myself, this was the star of the show here, a pretzel. Got myself a salted pretzel.
Beautiful.
This is usually my go-to, that, and I love popcorn or something
Of
like
course.
that. But I went with these. The hot dog, unfortunately, was kind of cold, but the meat itself was pretty solid. It was better than, your typical crappy hot dog meat.
Yeah, it was just a big fat hot dog that looks like a sausage.
Yeah. Was it worth that
Delicious.
price at a stadium? Sure, I guess.
Pork or beef?
I felt it tasted it kind of seemed like it was pork. I'm sure it was pork.
Okay, so time out. How much did a cold hot dog cost you?
Oh, it cost I think it cost like $9, baby. Yeah, it was too expensive.
It's
but
borderline. I thought you were going to say 12. So when you hit me
no.
with 9, I was
that
like,
would be
"It's not bad."
nuts. I mean,
But
I
was
could
hoping
imagine
it was gonna be
12.
6.
Yeah, 6 would have been like, oh, I was totally happy with it.
Sure.
But the pretzel was totally worth it because that thing was like $4.50 and was way more satisfying and basically
Dude,
ass filling.
Yeah.
I love pretzels.
It had a good crisp on it, it looked like.
Yeah, well, it was pretty doughy. But yeah, I guess it was still crispy enough. It wasn't like too doughy, you know.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm eating a cold hot dog. I've got
Yeah.
a pretty fucking doughy pretzel that's got a tight crisp and a
Good amount of
little
salt.
on top. Did you have a mustard dip or cheddar cheese
No,
dip?
I didn't ask if there was some kind of cheese dip. Because I was like, oh, maybe it'll come with it, but it didn't. And I was like, well, I'll just try this plain. And I actually really enjoyed it plain.
Okay.
So
So I'm going to enjoy a cold hot dog,
mhm.
a kind of doughy pretzel that's crispy with some salt on top, and I'm enjoying it.
And I only spent 10 buccarinos on my ticket, which was the max amount you could spend for a ticket because it wasn't that many people there. And basically I sat like right behind Diamond, baby, right behind
Dude,
home plate.
Were you calling
great.
strikes and the ump screaming at you to mind your own business and let him do his job?
Oh no, man! But everybody else, I mean, the Duck fans, to their credit, were being really good with all the classic baseball cat calls or just like shit talking.
That's
Like
great.
there's this the one great moment when because we were going against Portland. When the guy he swings it and if he was a bigger, stronger man, it would have been a home run, but it ended up just being like pretty deep outfield, and our guy just got it and it was out. And a fan just did the classic better hit the gym, stuff like that. Stuff like that made me laugh. I mean, it's not original.
I've got a buddy up here that we would go to Mariner games and go to the bullpen. And he would talk trash to the bullpen, to the opposing pitchers in the bullpen warming up before the game when the outfielders are stretching. He's like catcalling them, but it's all those perfect baseball ones that the players just are like these fucking guys with these 1920s baseball things,
calling people belly itchers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, there's some good ones. And I loved
it's a beautiful art. It truly is, because you can just be an asshole.
Yeah.
But to be one of those classic baseball razzle dazzles, it's beautiful.
Well, and I really loved the amount of there really weren't that many people there, but there was enough people there whereas people were feeling very confident to just shout it out. It wasn't
we're having a good time.
People were having a good time. There was quite a few hecklers in the crowd, which was fun.
I mean, it looked like the sky was blue as hell.
It was gray as hell, but not like it was gonna rain, but it was just kind of just overcasty.
Sure.
I saw 3 homers while I was there. I only stayed for 3.5 innings, but I saw 3 homers while I did not stay for the whole time because I had to rush here.
Oh, that's right. You were just there.
I was just there, baby.
That's amazing. So, all right, let's talk baseball. I've enjoyed my food. I've run blocks to get back home.
Now you're looking around and you're seeing that clearly nachos. If you are going there and kind of hungry or just really munchy, maybe you smoked a joint on the way. you should be going for the nachos because the nacho. I mean, they got those generic like circle little chips,
Perfect. That's what you
but
want.
they actually look pretty loaded and they actually look pretty mixed, like well mixed, which that's
You do
key.
not have control over the cheese and jalapenos and chili
I don't believe
like
so.
7-Eleven style.
No, I don't think you have that. But it looks like they did a good job of layering it, and that's what you need, baby.
That's the important. Cool.
So
Okay.
I'll just say this. It was just a complete freaking beatdown because they were up 5-0 at the end of the first because I saw a homer that resulted in 3 runs. It was very fun to see.
That's a grand. Oh wait, that's not a grand slam.
Not quite a grand slam, no. And then I saw 2 more homers. By the time I left, they were up 9-0. So
Wow.
they kicked some fucking ass, my man.
Yeah, baby. We love baseball now. We're good at it.
Yeah, we love all the baseball games that I go to in person. I'm gonna try. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm gonna be able to see some Duck Diamond sports for a while, but I'm excited to see a softball game because I love me some softball. Either this weekend where they have a little, I don't know, what's it called? The Oregon State tournament with teams like North Dakota State, Oregon State, Portland State. There you go. And the Ducks. Or maybe I'll see them when Cal comes to Eugene and the Ducks play them. I'm going to try to see some softball is my point. Yeah.
That'd be the preferred one for me, honestly. I just find it way more fascinating. Just the fact that they are
the pitching, the rotation.
Wind-up pitch is just like, how do you fucking do that?
Hey, maybe we can get someone on the pod to teach us how to really.
That could
really
actually be awesome.
Oh, listeners, we love you so much. Well, that's been this week of Quack 12 coverage. Once again, find us on Twitter at Quack 12 Podcast. If you want to help us out, why don't you go over to the Quack 12 Patreon, give us $5 measly, and you can get so much years and years worth of material, including our Quack and Time series, which breaks down Oregon football year by year, as well as key special episodes that Aaron and I have recorded in the long history of the Quack 12 Podcast. Also, if you want to help us out without giving us a goddamn dime, but instead seconds of your time, please go over to Apple Podcasts, give us 5 stars, leave a comment. We'd love you forever because it'll help other people find us. Aaron, do you have any final words for our listeners at home?
Yeah, you did just make me realize that I should have let those Dane dudes know that in America it's Apple Podcast, but for them,
they got it wrong.
They're still on iTunes.
So
that's how they did their commercial. So I should have fixed that.
Well, next week.
If any American listener heard the ad earlier and was confused by going to iTunes, you should be going to Apple Podcast, not iTunes. That's for the Danes.
Okay. Well,
and that's what I want to say.
You've made things more confusing than ever, and that's really that's your job on this podcast. So congratulations.
I have one job to do.
And you're kind of fucking it up.